Todd Chrisley is not suing me.
Thankfully for the internet, nothing goes away. Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. There's been a lot going on in my brain. Todd and Julie Chrisley were convicted of their full indictment. Life is about to change for them. Yesterday's news was very good for me. It's not the end for me, but it's the beginning of the end, let's just say. I wasn't confused when he tried to confuse the public, I believe, about his charges being dropped, and instead continued to report. And that's what I believe, along with a connection to his daughter, resulted in a frivolous lawsuit against me. I would never wish on my worst enemy what I've been put through at the hands of Todd Chrisley. I did not lie, I did not defame them, and I was right in my reporting. He's in a group of a lot of closeted men who have bearded. Oh, we're not going to talk about other people's sexualities.
Todd Chrisley is 100% gay.
I was worried that maybe the jury will believe him. I was not in the courtroom. I hadn't lied and I hadn't done anything wrong. Maybe it's all the lawsuits that have been filed against you. That's funny because there's not any lawsuits filed against me.
A few moments later.
As I was going through preparing for this new bogus lawsuit that I'm involved in right now, I'm like the worst liar ever. Chrisley's had owed them income tax for years and they hadn't reported it or they hadn't paid. So the trial proved that his lawsuit against me has no merit.
Ms. Paulson has played a key role in spreading and perpetuating a particularly vicious fiction that Mr. Chrisley attempted to extort his own daughter, threatening to release a sex tape and nude photos of her unless she agreed to perjure herself in a criminal investigation. Mr. Chrisley never made such a threat, nor to Mr. Chrisley's knowledge does such a tape exist. Ms. Paulson is a self-described close personal friend of Lindsay Chrisley. She has touted her friendship with Ms. Chrisley, implying that she possesses inside knowledge.
I'm friends with Lindsay Chrisley. I'm friends with Lindsay. I'm loyal to Lindsay.
Lindsay Chrisley is a dear friend of mine, the best gift I've ever been given.
She has even fabricated an interview with an anonymous Chrisley Knows Best crew member corroborating it. In the world of covering reality TV, and I really think that's the type of channel that KJ has, she covers reality television. Paulson has recently accused Mr. Chrisley of attempting to extort her as well. She has falsely claimed to her thousands of followers that Mr. Chrisley made threats against her. Mr. Chrisley did what any father would do in this extraordinary situation, warn his daughter that someone she wrongly believed to be her friend had betrayed her trust.
I just don't delete things.
Oh, and we have a list. On October 19th, 2019, Paulson posted a now deleted YouTube video dedicated to the allegation that Chrisley attempted to extort his daughter with a sex tape.
I'm sick to death of you telling me I can't delete shit because I'll delete shit all day long.
In another now deleted YouTube video from October 19th, 2019, KJ claimed that somebody anonymously from the Chrisley Knows Best crew actually reached out to me to let me know that they watched Lindsay Chrisley's interview on Dr. Phil and they said, I believe her. So approached Lindsay. We got to that containing those nude photos or that she was having an affair with a Georgia state official. On information and belief, there was no interview with an anonymous Chrisley Knows Best crew member, and Paulson fabricated the whole encounter. Her deletion of the video appears to confirm as much.
You're gonna fucking worried about what I'm deleting. Fuck you.
An interview indicates to me that you sit down with someone and are like, this is someone, they're anonymous. I've checked out that they've worked there.
And so for that to happen, and I forgive him.
Lindsay Chrisley has testified under oath that certain of Ms. Paulson's claims about receiving information from her are false. Finally, Paulson removed a number of the most egregious sex tape statements from her various social media pages.
I'll delete shit all day long.
In particular, she removed a video of her claiming that a Chrisley Knows Best crew member had provided the interview corroborating the sex tape statements. This again demonstrates her knowledge that the statements were false and defamatory.
Mr. Chrisley called me ugly, implied that I was broke, insecure, and a vile human. Here is the paragraph that she deleted.
I just don't delete things.
We also found out his lawsuit against me is stayed until his criminal trial is complete. If this lawsuit was stayed, there would have been a filing saying exactly that, but like I said, when I went to the court website, there was no filing suggesting such an event took place.
Who has credibility issues? It's not me. I am absolutely relieved with the verdict. And I will say this, anyone that's been on the receiving end of someone like Todd knows exactly what it's like. And it's a huge relief when they're finally found out for who they are. And you can finally rest your head down at night and know that everything's going to be okay, because now he's got bigger fish to fry than me. And his lawsuit against me does nothing for him now, because everything that's in his lawsuit against me was literally part of this case. Here's the deal. They're not likely to get 30 years. I heard a lot of you saying, oh, but Josh Duggar only got 12 and a half years and the Chrisleys are going to get 30. No.
In white-collar cases, they get significantly less time than actual maximums. What really contributes to what the sentence is the dollar amount. The average case in the United States is $9. It's actually just $100. And the average sentence is around 20 months. So the case is $30. So that would be an aggravating factor.
Which is likely to increase the mandatory, or increase the sentence, but there's no mandatory minimum. He is going to be going minimum 25 years.
That is not accurate.
Minimum.
Mandatory minimum of 5 years in this case. Maximum potential exposure of 20.
He is facing 20 years as a mandatory minimum. It's 20 years per charge. One of them has a mandatory minimum of 20 years.
The judge could get into half, 10, which is 5 more years than the mandatory minimum. So it's like double the mandatory minimum, but it's half of the max.
Whether they put them together and it's a 40-year, 30-year type deal, or he can have them run at the same time.
I would not put my hopes on the fact that he's getting 10 years, 20 years. I would put my sights after trial in that kind of 10 to 15 realm.
There's very complex sentencing guidelines. I have researched this as an ad nauseum. I have no reason to lie. No, mandatory maximum is no. That's the maximum, but there's also mandatory minimums.
There could be a mandatory minimum for one offender of 5 years and one for 10 years. It has to do with his stipulations.
The maximum is 20, but the mandatory minimum for Josh is 20. So he gets the maximum sentence.
I do not think that the judge is going to give him the maximum.
I don't know if I'm making myself clear. Because he has all of the aggravating factors, because of the age, because he has passed on his record.
It's very rare in federal cases that someone with no record would get maxed out. If the judge considers the prior bad acts, the judge can take that under consideration, can't add to the sentencing because of that. He doesn't have priors that he's been convicted of.
He, in this case, could likely be sentenced to 20.
Somebody's saying, I thought the mandatory minimum was 20 years. I don't know why you would think that. No, the maximum is 20. The mandatory minimum on these counts is 5.
The minimum was 20 years. The minimum on this is going to be 25.
25 to life is the highest minimum sentence I've ever seen. And that is in first-degree premeditated murders. For nonviolent offenses, mandatory minimums are not that high and would never be in the 20-year range and aren't on this. So whoever reported that is inaccurate and does not understand the way that this all works.
Hi.
I would be shocked if he got 15 years. I think 8 to 12 is probably where we will see this.
So what did we learn today? Julie and Todd have a date with prison. Emails and everything from all the different servers. But
Fuck off, Lizzie. I hope you, fuck off, Lizzie.